Now, let's get into some ways on how to set healthy boundaries. You want to express your needs, your wants, and your limits. Okay, be very assertive when you are, communicating your boundaries, and you want to not be aggressive or even passive aggressive. You just want to be very clear cut and nice about it, and be like, hey, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is how this makes me feel, and I hope you understand. Now, for a person who doesn't know how to express themselves sometimes without coming off a little snotty, which is myself, if you have that issue, I got you. Okay, I'm going to give you some tips and some tricks on how to express yourself clear, cutthroat, without being passive aggressive or just aggressive. Okay, so an example of being very clear and honest about what you need as far as boundaries, what your needs, wants, and limits are, without being passive aggressive, is using I statements. Okay, so when you are expressing yourself, say the word I in the beginning of the sentence to express your needs and your wants. So for example, right, you would say, I feel discomfort when you do this, versus saying, you always make me feel uncomfortable when you do this. At that point, they're going to feel like you're trying to be rude and trying to accuse them of something, trying to, paint this bad picture for them, or make them feel a way about, whatever that it may be, and have a reason to be defensive. And then that's how you also start to change the conversation, and it's no longer going to be about you, but it's going to be about how they feel. So you don't want to say things like, you always make me feel when you do this. You want to say, I feel this when you do this. I feel uncomfortable when you talk about certain subjects. I feel uncomfortable when you ask me certain questions. And that's a great way of being clear with your communication without sounding aggressive or passive aggressive. Also, when you are trying to communicate your needs, your wants, and your limits, you want to stay very calm in these situations, especially if you're dealing with a person who have a tendency of being aggressive no matter what route you take, and have a tendency of always being defensive. Even in these situations, you have to remember that it's about you and about your needs and your wants. But when people are aggressive to you and they get rude or be defensive, at that point, that's not about you, right? And so in order to not even make this conversation about them and how they are feeling, you have to stay calm, and you have to continue to just be relaxed. Be calm and relaxed. Don't allow what they're saying to get you all worked up. Even if you're having these conversations with this person and they're starting to get all fired up and loud and stuff, and if you're somebody like me, my heart starts to beat. When people start pissing me off, do some breath work. Be like, to bring it back. Because the moment that you even feed into how they are reacting to what you are saying, it's going to be a whole different conversation. And this is not what that's for. When you are trying to have a conversation with somebody about setting your boundaries, your needs, your wants, your limits, it shouldn't be an argument. It shouldn't be a debate. It shouldn't be, this conversation that conjures up negative energy right between two people in a space. It should simply be a simple understanding. And if people were so easygoing, it would be so much easier. But like I said, sometimes you're dealing with people who are so used to crossing your boundaries that they don't even understand at first exactly where you're coming from. And you have to understand that when you talk to these people, that they're not going to probably understand at first exactly where you're coming from. And so their reaction, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. So don't feed into it, because then that's when you make it about them. Okay?